Live from the source code in the SEC's Edgar database, it's your daily dose of malformed yet informative biz nuggets.
Oh, they're not malformed.
Joined as always
Fully
by
formed.
eloquent Emma Lurking. Is Emma actually here? I don't know.
No. She's not. Not here.
And mighty Matt Moscardi. I'm a nervous Nelly. Today in our dirty bag called November 11th, 2021, Wynn Resorts CEO exits stage right. Nvidia drops its Omniverse, and Kimball Musk wears a cowboy hat.
Woohoo!
All right, you ready for this?
Start us off.
Here we go. Wynn Resorts CEO Matt Maddox to step down in January. What is the company saying? Nothing, really. Matt Maddox will be leaving the company as of blah, 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 blah. Following a unanimous request by the board, blah, blah, blah. CFO Craig Billings will become blah, blah, blah. Mr. Maddox led Wynn Resorts, blah, blah, blah. The entire board is grateful, blah, blah, blah. So then why are you firing him, or why did he quit? Dude is only 45. Maddox commented, "This has not been an easy decision. I am leaving a company that I love, but I believe now is the right time for me and for the business. I am incredibly proud that we accomplished so much. We quickly resolved litigation that had distracted the company for 7 years, blah, blah, blah." So let's break it down a bit. Here we go. Ready? First of all, now is the right time for me and the business means that something bad happened.
Yes, concur.
And second, we quickly resolved litigation that had distracted the company for 7 years is a big fat lie. So maybe you're leaving because you are a big fat liar. Check out this report from August, which I'm guessing is the real reason why Matt Maddox is leaving Wynn Resorts. A federal judge in Nevada has revived elements of a securities fraud lawsuit based on compelling allegations that executives at Wynn Resorts, including current CEO Matt Maddox, knew about but disregarded reports of sexual harassment and misconduct against company founder Steve Wynn, contradicting their statements that denied misconduct allegations.
Yikes.
Okay, that feels like a big deal. And my guess is, after an internal investigation, Wynn Resorts told Maddox to get into Elon's boring Vegas tunnel and self-drive his big fat liar ass out of there.
Ouch.
After less than 4 years on the job and a hasty pre-Thanksgiving exit, Maddox will receive a golden parachute consisting of at least $5 million in cash, the vesting of $8 million more in shares, and continuing health benefits for him and his family. It will also cost shareholders $5 million golden hello bonus for the new CEO for, being in the right place at the right time.
What are you going to do?
But before I end this Vegas tale, let me point out one of the cruelest ironies of corporate governance disasters caused by the serial sexual harassment of founders and CEOs. Improved governance and diversity. It's a Festivus miracle.
It's so confusing.
Wynn's current proxy statement is loud and proud, bragging in a brightly colored chart that average director tenure has fallen to less than 4 years. Half of the board is now diverse. 2 of 3 board committees are chaired by women. They adopted the Rooney Rule, and there's now an independent chair.
Oh.
So while Wynn Chair Philip Sater praises Maddox's leadership, which resulted in increased diversity and Wynn being recognized as having one of the most diverse boards in the country, he fails to point out, of course, that the changes were necessitated by one of the biggest CEO sexual harassment scandals of the 2000s.
Are you saying that wasn't in the press release? I feel like you buried the lead a little bit because the line following a unanimous request by the board. When does that happen? In news that is sure to make you throw up at least a little bit in your mouth, this week, Nvidia released its plans for the Omniverse.
Oh, God.
A compliment to college dropout Mark Zuckerberg's metaverse. I'm not entirely sure why Nvidia waited until after Halloween to announce the release because it is petrifying. In fact, Anthony Lane, a writer for The New Yorker, wrote the following, quote, "It lures us into the minds and the earthly domains of those who are themselves scared night and day that they have forfeited the mercies of God." Only he wrote that about the movie The Witch because it's so terrifying it also applies here. What is terrifying, you ask? Two things. Number one, here's something to chew on. Nvidia happily announced that they have the engines to make, I'm not making this up, meta-humans. This is all directly from their event. None of this is make-believe. They've added features like, quote, smart hair, which is programmed to move naturally. Your hair doesn't move naturally. This is
very natural.
That is false. You can create your own meta outfits, but FYI, outfits that are higher resolution or have, quote, better physics will cost you extra to buy.
Better physics.
They also offer, quote, digital skin, which Buffalo Bill is super excited about. Nvidia also showed how you can use your own real-life images to turn them into digital actors. No word yet whether my crotch size can be improved or whether crotch physics will cost extra, but there you have it. Your teenager's body dysmorphia is solved. No longer will you have to look at pictures of people in the real world and feel permanently ugly. Now you can just alter yourself in a fake world and never wake up. Nvidia did miss a trick here, though, because Omniverse? Really? The Omniverse? On the heels of Metaverse, you couldn't come up with another name. You went with Omniverse? We have a little guide here at Free Float Media to avoid getting your verses confused. First up is the Metaverse. It's the virtual parking lot next to the high school where a college dropout goes to pick up girls that never would have looked at him in actual high school.
No.
Number two is the Omniverse. It's a virtual engine to make your lips bigger, where you can buy that Bentley you always wanted, so that when you go to the virtual parking lot next to the high school, they won't even recognize you because of bling. Number three, the Omni, which is a hotel chain likely to sue Nvidia unless they allowed the Omni to build virtual hotels. So you can pay $250 a night to stay in a faker place than their real hotels.
Okay.
Number four, the multiverse. This is part of a theory in physics that helps you explain quantum physics and gravitational theories. It's also where Marvel Comics' Doctor Strange hangs out, so don't get it confused with that. And number five, Free Float's very own patented hegemonyverse.
Yes.
Which brings me to the number two reason to be terrified. I looked at the top 8 companies listed as building the metaverse. There's lists of metaverse companies all over the place now, and they included companies like Roblox, Nvidia, Autodesk, Shopify, Unity Software, Meta Platforms / Facebook, Microsoft, Matterport. I pulled how many white bros had the majority voting power or the majority of leadership representation. Turns out 61% of the leaders of the metaverse, that's board plus executives, are white men. The hegemony is real. At 3 of the companies, more than 50% of the voting power was held by white men. So the hegemonyverse is what awaits you after you take off your stupid 3D face mask and re-enter the real world.
I wish you made all that up, Matt. Hey, and just before we move on to our final story, Matt, you laughed at me. I predicted that Facebook would change its name to Omniverse, and you laughed at that name. And now we have another company calling itself
Now
Omniverse.
another company did it. I laughed at you because you got the company wrong. But this is all real. This is all real.
And our final story, Elon Musk's brother sold $109 million in Tesla stock ahead of poll. Okay, I said I wasn't going to talk about Elon Musk anymore, but this is Kimball Musk, so shut up. Tesla director Kimball Musk sold $109 million worth of Tesla stock one day before his brother's now infamous Twitter poll, wondering if he should sell over $20 billion of his own stock. After the poll, Tesla shares closed down the most in 5 months and had its worst 2-day performance since March. But who is this guy, Kimball?
Kimball.
He attended culinary school. He wears a cowboy hat. He's a self-proclaimed sustainability-minded Brooklyn entrepreneur. I don't know what that is.
Air quotes? Is that air quotes?
He's worth about $1 billion, of course. He's the CEO of Kitchen Restaurant Group, whatever that is, and co-founded an urban farm community that cultivates crops like arugula in old shipping containers. And of course,
delicious.
He's a director on 2 of his brother's boards, Tesla and SpaceX. Kimball calls himself a philanthropist and says his personal mission is to pursue an America where everyone has access to real food. So what's my point? My point is, why do we have to deal with brothers and sisters on boards in the first place? It's just an ugly power grab. I'm looking at you, SEC and NYSE. I keep hoping our alternative democracy will help us out, but check this out. At Tesla's election this year, Kimball received 117 million votes against his re-election to the board. That's a lot of real food, urban-grown Brooklyn broccoli. He also received 473 million votes in favor of his election.
Oh, everybody likes a cowboy hat.
While that might feel like a landslide, consider this. Of those 473 million votes, 265 million come from other directors and executives, mostly his brother, and 157 million come from management-friendly asset management firms like BlackRock. So, as usual, Trump is right. It is all rigged.
Oh, do you think Kimball Musk is going to sell his real urban arugula in the metaverse?
If
One can hope.
If it's in a virtual old shipping container, I suppose.
One can hope. That was Damian Rollis. Emma Lurking is the conscience on my shoulder.
Literally.
I am Matt Moscardi. We are Free Float Media. If you like this, come back tomorrow. Tomorrow's show is going to be long. We're going to discuss the entire week's worth of stories. We're going to give you the asshole of the week. You're going to give us the biggest problem of the week, the story of the week. We're going to give you lots of things. Come join us for that. Otherwise, we'll be back at you next week with more Biz Nugget.